Speaker, and I would beg for us to look at Article 150 on the removal of our Deputy President, the reasons as to incapacity, physical and mental capacity of the Deputy President, Gachagua. But on impeachment as a second ground, the first ground is on the ground of a gross violation of a Geoffrey Gachagua has of our Constitution. And I think the Honorable Ekomas Mutuse was able to demonstrate this morning that Rigathi Gachagua has violated not one, but over 8 provisions of our Constitution, which I agree with the Honorable Mutuse. And it's where there are serious reasons. And Senior Counsel Otiende Amolo went to great length this morning to explain what President has committed a crime under national or international law. Honorable Speaker, behind the veneer of humility that you have seen here this evening, behind the veneer of humility that Kenyans saw on national TVs on Sunday, is a dark face, Honorable Speaker, that is a great danger, a danger to on the first ground, Honorable Speaker, on the remark of Serikali ni kampuni. It pains me, Honorable Speaker, and also as a son of the mountain, where I come from, that, Honorable Speaker, today, the community I come from is being depicted as a community that is entitled and privileged. We are a community, Honorable Speaker, that has love for other Kenyans and other communities in our republic. We are a community that is known for our hard work and resilience, not for entitlement. We are a community that is peace-loving and that believes in the unity of one indivisible nation and Republic of Kenya. Rigathi Gachagua does not believe in an indivisible country. He believes in parochial, selfish, regional and sectarian interests. And for that reason, Honorable Speaker, we ought and we should impeach the Honorable Rigathi Gachagua. Honorable Speaker, we need to ask ourselves as Honorable Members of Parliament, who took an oath of office, Honorable Speaker, and we swore in the name of the Almighty God that we would obey, respect, uphold, protect and defend this Constitution. Words of the oath of office that we all took either with the Bible or with the Holy Quran in our right hands, Honorable Speaker, that for a man who has grossly violated our Constitution, whether we will stand up today to be counted as protecting and defending this Constitution by sending home one Rigathi Gachagua, Honorable Speaker. I want to say I rise to the occasion today to do what is right and to reaffirm that oath that we... Honorable members, for Kenyans around the country who watched in disbelief as the Honorable Rigathi Gachagua went to great length, and the Honorable Otiende Amolo told us this morning, if you have to spend 2 hours on national TV to defend corruption and tell the world how you are not corrupt, you are definitely corrupt. Honorable Speaker, the Deputy President with his legal team submitted their defense late at 4 p.m. this afternoon, imagining that we will not have the time to go through this voluminous document. If you go through what Rigathi Gachagua was telling you here, on Olive Garden Hotel, he claims that this hotel was sold by executors to a third party. Honorable Speaker, if you peruse through the documents, the third party that is said to have bought this hotel, Honorable Speaker, and allow me, Honorable Speaker, first to tell you that the joint executors of the will of the late Governor Nderitu Gachagua were Rigathi Gachagua, Advocate Njoroge Regeru, and one Mr. Mwai, who was said to have been his great friend, Mwai Madhenge. Honorable Speaker, if you read the report filed in court by the joint will executors, filed on the 27th of June this year, it says in the report that the joint will executors will make decisions independently of the beneficiaries and without influence from any beneficiary, except for one who is both a beneficiary and an executor. The joint will executors does not have the same attributes and mandates as for trustees, where beneficiaries would play a part assisting in decision making. What this is saying, Honorable Speaker, a document filed in court, is that Rigathi Gachagua, as a joint will executor, was also a beneficiary of the estate of his late brother. He was not only a joint will executor, he was also a beneficiary, and he was also a purchaser for value of the estate of his late brother. Olive Gardens is said to have been sold to one gentleman that many of us know. The Honorable Gishimu Givenji, the member for Gishugu, will tell you that the gentleman who is listed here as a purchaser for value for Olive Gardens, one Peterson Jomo Mushira, was a candidate in Gishugu constituency. He is a direct proxy of one Rigathi Geoffrey Gachagua. Honorable Speaker, I must confess, and I am sorry to my friend Peterson because I know him. I just called him this afternoon when I saw this document, and I asked him whether TM Civil Engineering Limited is his company, and he confirmed to me it is indeed his company. I therefore want to tell you Olive Gardens was purchased through the proxy of Peterson Jomo Mushira with 0 shares and TM Civil Engineering Limited with 6,000. They also told Honorable Rigathi and Kevin Gachagua this afternoon by Rigathi are shareholders of Vipingo Beach Resort that owns the Vipingo property in Kilifi County. The one the Honorable Chonga was speaking about. Rigathi Gachagua told Kenyans on national TV that this property is still owned by the family and therefore is still part of the estate. Keith Ikino and Kevin Gachagua, his sons, were not joint will executors of the estate of Nderito Gachagua. And the owners who are listed on this CR12 is Keith Ikino Rigathi, Kevin Gachagua Rigathi, and the estate of the deceased James Nderito Gachagua. It is a rather ingenious way of trying to hide, Honorable Speaker, the estate of his late brother to disguise all this property, and that is why his 2 sons are listed as directors and shareholders of Vipingo Ridge, and we have decided to keep it. This is a House of Records, Honorable Speaker, and it is good we gave the Honorable Rigathi Gachagua an opportunity to be heard so that we can expose his tell Kenyans and all of you members, save this country from this dark face, Honorable Speaker, honorable members. Save this country, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, because of time, I know there was alluding, Honorable Speaker, if you look at the time this company, Vipingo Beach Resort, was formed, it was founded on 5th August 2008. I would guess if Keith Gachagua is 31 years old today, at the time this company was registered, he was only 15 years old or 14 years old. He cannot have been Deputy President. Gives the issue of shareholding, Honorable Speaker, the leader of Ford Kenya. And you know you never subscribe to shareholding in our coalition agreements within Kenya Kwanza. Anybody who subscribed to the Kenya Kwanza coalition was subscribing not to shares, but to an idea. The mountain is intact. The mountain is intact. The mountain is intact. Then ethnic balkanization.
Give him another 2-3 minutes.
Honorable Speaker, I was saying to conclude, to end the balkanization of our country, first, for accountability for leaders in high office to bear policy and political responsibility. Rigathi Gachagua must. Rigathi must. I submit Rigathi must go.
Thank you. Order. Honorable members, order. The honorable mover has donated his time as follows. Charles Nguna, CNN, you'll start with 2 minutes. Omboko Milemba will follow with 3 minutes. He himself 15 minutes. So CNN, Charles Nguna.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, let me thank the Kenyans who just expressed their views during public participation on this matter, Mr. Speaker. And to add this, I keenly followed and listened to the Deputy President yesterday, His Excellency. And Mr. Speaker, based on contradictions, divisions, which are totally eminent, we are going to have in future, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, it is inevitable that we are going to have battleground between His Excellency the DP and His Excellency the President. And when the bulls fight, Mr. Speaker, grass suffers, Mr. Speaker. And that's why I'm saying that if we continue keeping one of prosperity and also from development, for what we call prosperity and pathway to go.
Omboko Milemba.
Honorable Speaker, there's a question which makes me stand to speak on. And I want Kenyans and possibly the members who can listen to me to realize that one issue that has not been answered consistently is the question of chairs. Yesterday I listened to the Deputy President and today also. Whenever he's asked about shares, Honorable
Members,
Speaker,
can we reduce our levels of conversation?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Whenever he's asked about the issue of shares, he picks, instead of answer, a reply by Honorable Gachagua, and on page 333, the agreement is annexed. And I want to demonstrate to this parliament that what you have been told was wrong. Intentional to read the entire paragraph which says that the sharing of the political parties will also depend only when ANC nominated was a honorable. This is an issue which has not been tackled. Two, he is unable to deal with senior counsel tender molos. It's very important that in all this we have seen all the techniques of card stacking, of propaganda, which include card stacking, emotional appeal, branding, and that's why we have seen the name of the president being dragged in this matter today. I think the motion on the floor is for the makanga, is not for the driver. Thank you, Honorable Speaker, I support. For the driver. Thank you, Honorable Speaker, I support.
I have been advised by the mover that Lilian Kogo will take 2 minutes and Kaluma 8 minutes instead of 10. Lilian Kogo.
I thank you so much, Honorable Speaker, and I want to thank all the members who have contributed to this motion. I rise to support. I had not given my voice to it, but Honorable Speaker, as you was speaking earlier, Honorable Speaker, I believe the Honorable Deputy President of the Honorable Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya was following the proceedings so clearly, Honorable Speaker, was an insult on women, Honorable Speaker. Women insult on women, Honorable Speaker. Women form a substantive position in this, that when the Deputy President came to this House, he was going to address this matter on a special way, Honorable Speaker. But I did not listen. I did not hear him. I did not hear the Deputy Speaker. I did not hear the Deputy President here. The Deputy President, one Honorable Rigathi Gachagua, answer to the question of saying that one noble member of this House, the Honorable Chemachia, is a malaya, Honorable Speaker, to tell this House where we annul this House, where we are not going to allow boys to be a malaya. These are our sisters. It is not.
Time up. Peter Kaluma. Peter Kaluma. Remember.
Honorable Speaker, I have this benefit of speaking after listening both to the mover of the motion from all perspectives. Honorable Speaker, allow me to start by saying that I listened to the Deputy President, as I did to Honorable Mutuse, with the mind of a lawyer, looking at how the grounds have been addressed, what happened. But we had Honorable Mutuse presented before this assembly a motion seeking to impeach the Deputy President on up to 11 grounds. And Honorable Speaker, I don't know whether it is by act of omission or commission, or it is just the nature of some people. The Deputy President focused on those matters concerning property, money, integrity, procurement, forgetting the most fundamental issues. And I want to say that even when he addressed those money issues, there are very patent gaps going to constitutional violations which are stated in the motion to be gross. I expected the Deputy President, for instance, to use the opportunity you accorded him, Honorable Speaker, to explain that SMS which came from his son Ikunu Gachagua on the bid bond issue involving that company. No mention of that at all. Honorable Speaker, before I go to the matters I want to address in substance, let me thank you. Has been very fair. And in doing so, Honorable Speaker, for according and upholding and protecting the provisions of Article 47 of the Constitution. I hear people still saying that the courts will intervene. But I'm thanking you for this, Honorable Speaker, because the only time the courts intervene is if we have not secured a party procedural fairness. This short data in 1 minute. 146,429 Kenyans said that the Deputy President should be impeached. And that, Honorable Speaker, constitutes 65.11% of the people of Kenyans. 76,026 of Kenyans said the Deputy President should not be impeached, coming to 33.8% of those Kenyans. Honorable Speaker, 2,452 Kenyans said kufa makanga, kufa dereva, and those other things. And there are the others. And Honorable Speaker, in terms of our constituency, which is Homa Bay Town constituency, 1,080 Kenyans whom I represent said the Deputy President should be impeached. And Honorable Speaker, that constitutes 89.81% of the population of the people of Homa Bay who are duly notified. 54 Kenyans in Homa Bay Town constituency, constituting 5%, said the Deputy President should not be impeached. And then 56 which is another percentage there said other things including Kufa driver, Kufa Makanga. Honorable Speaker, let me clarify this other issue also. That the courts have persistently and consistently said that public participation must be meaningful. If public participation should be meaningful, and Honorable Speaker, you made it so open at the county headquarters involving all constituencies, and then all constituency offices remained open on that day, and you notified it to the public, Honorable Speaker, following that order of court, then really there is nothing much for us to continue debating here. If public participation is to be meaningful, then the Kenyans have spoken, and as their representatives, we can only give meaning to what they say during public participation by securing what they have said, which is that the deputy president should be impeached. Honorable Speaker, because I'm running fast, let me say that this constitution has been tally. But Honorable Speaker, the idea of the unity of our nation has been the one thing which has been disturbing the people of Kenya in terms of being a nation for very long. Honorable Speaker, allow me to read the preamble of the Constitution. And this is what it says. We, the people of Kenya, proud of our ethnic, cultural, and religious diversity, and determined to live in peace and unity as one indivisible, sovereign nation. When the Kenyans were making this constitution, they identified the need for unity as one people, as one thing they had to deal with. Honorable Speaker, I request the members to look at Article 4, Sub-Article 2 of the Constitution. It says Kenya is a multi-party democratic state founded on the national values and principles of governance under Article 10 of the Constitution. And Honorable Speaker, people have said so many things about this Constitution. But let me say today, before this House, Honorable Speaker, that Article 10 of the Constitution, if this spirit has a soul, if this Constitution has a spirit, then you can only find it in Article 10 of the Constitution. At Article 10, Sub-Article 2, those national values which were identified by the people of Kenya during constitution making as the things which Kenya needs to address are the following, Honorable Speaker. Democracy and participation of the people, human dignity, equity, social justice, inclusiveness, equality, human rights, non-discrimination, and protection of the marginalized. Honorable Speaker, at the very heart of a nation is equal ownership and equal sharing in the resources of the nation. It cannot be therefore, Honorable Speaker, that a state officer at the level of the deputy president is singing to other Kenyans how they are shareholders and they don't belong to this country. And Honorable Speaker, it saddens me that having given him the opportunity, the deputy president did not proffer a defense, the deputy president did not offer an apology, but the deputy president said other people are also doing it. Honorable Speaker, let me say an impeachment motion proceeds in personam. It proceeds against a specific person. You may say Kufa dereva, Kufa Makanga.
Give him 1 minute to wind up. Wind up, Kaluma.
Thank you. Honorable Speaker, it does not matter. This motion we have is against a person. You cannot have a motion for impeachment against Kaluma and somebody. Those who are saying Kufa driver, Kufa Makamba, bring the driver and we will also consider it on the merit. And on account of that, Honorable Speaker, this person must go. Honorable Speaker, in the few seconds remaining, let me say that when Westgate came under attack, I lost a cousin in the name of Jackson Port. He was the first one to be shot there. When Garissa University came under attack, Honorable Speaker, I lost Solomon Oludo from Marindi, a son of our land I educated at Ubiru Primary School. Honorable Speaker, we have no problem holding the security apparatus of the nation, to account. But Honorable Speaker, we cannot have a situation where you talk that recklessly in public about our national intelligence service being dysfunctional. For a state which is permanently under terror target and attack, and by the way, in the Security Committee, each minute we are fighting terrorists. You cannot speak that way and come back and say it is normal. Honorable Speaker, how can you be a principal assistant to the president when each time the president leaves the country, you are organizing rallies to incite ethnic animosity against your own government? Honorable Speaker, how can you be a principal assistant to His Excellency the President when the President is having a press conference in Nairobi and you are having a separate one instead of standing with him to calm the nation from Mombasa to say that the President, in fact, there is a problem and is a dysfunction in government?
Time up, Mutuse. You have 15 minutes.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Before I begin my reply to the motion, please allow me to table additional documents, being a newspaper advert that was placed by His Excellency the Deputy President in today's newspapers, and also the video recording of his speech yesterday, because they are material to these proceedings.
Go ahead. Request granted.
Mr. Speaker, I have tabled the two documents, electronic and physical, because during the course of this debate, members in many instances had referred to them, and therefore it is only fair that they are part of the record. Number two, Mr. Speaker, allow me to thank
the documents.
I want to be very brief because the matter of impeachment of His Excellency Gachagua. And Mr. Speaker, to begin with is to thank colleague members of Parliament from both sides of the House for the robust debate in terms of the motion that we presented before the House this morning. Mr. Speaker, I also want to thank Kenyans in their millions from all over the Republic, because in the course of this debate, Kenyans have been commending, Kenyans have been exercising their democratic right through public participation, through their right to odd opinions, and we have not witnessed a single incident of violence anywhere in the Republic. There had been vitisho that if you table an impeachment motion for a person of the magnitude of the Deputy President, there may be violence, people will lose lives. But I thank Kenyans, because Kenyans have proven once again that we are a peaceful country and we are able to engage in our democratic processes without violence. Mr. Speaker, allow me to re-examine is to let Kenyans know that His Excellency Gachagua has filed a response of 501 pages, and the response has come at 4 p.m. and I was only being able to be given the response about an hour ago, and therefore, so that I may be able during my reply to respond to some of the things that he has raised in his response. However, be that as it may, I want to refer members to page 99 of his response. In the morning, I did tell members that before this House, he has told you that the only document exhibited as evidence of that loan, LN Crystal Kenya Limited, for an aggregate amount of 300 million Kenya shillings, interest accrued shall be credited to your deposit settlement account. Mr. Speaker, in simple terms, what this means is that Mr. Gachagua had a fixed amount in cash of 300 million in his account, which was going to be used as a security. I asked Mr. Gachagua to tell us where he had gotten this 300 million, if my allegations that he is laundering money are not true. And therefore, he has monies, he has wealth, in terms of whether Kenya is a company or not.
Do you want information from member for West Mugirango?
Yes, you may.
Go ahead.
Mr. Speaker, Director for Credit Banking and is a relative of His Excellency Gachagua, and therefore,
I say no more.
I thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, of suspicious money transactions, I did with relatives or through proxies as acquired properties that are way beyond his known sources of income, and that evidence remains uncontroverted. Turning, Mr. Speaker, to the issue of whether Kenya is a company owned by shareholders, attempting to twist facts. All those coalition agreements are companies is to play around with our intelligence, because we know companies are registered under the Companies Act, they are not registered under the Political Parties Act. Further, Mr. Speaker, this Rigathi Gachagua was selectively documented as follows: that there is need to achieve an inclusive government that reflects the face of Kenya. Rigathi Gachagua chose not to tell us that the coalition agreement also talked about the face of Kenya and not a company of some people to the exclusion of others. Clause 6 of the Kenya Kwanza coalition agreement provides for respect for constitutionalism. The articles of the constitution that I stated, it provides for respect to the rule of law. It provides for respect to the national values and principles of government under Article 10, and it provides for respect to devolution. Mr. Rigathi Gachagua did not tell us that. Clause 22G of the coalition agreement among the Kenya Kwanza political parties provides that there will be adjustments that may be necessary to accommodate the development priorities for the benefit of every citizen. Destroy his case. Rigathi Gachagua, in his assertions about she was in reference to communities, and the evidence that we provided remains uncontroverted, and this ground must be confirmed. Today on live television, Honorable Rigathi Gachagua admitted that he personally called Dr. Andrew Murwa by his own phone yesterday on television. Today, appearing before us, he denies that he did not call him. So, which part of his testimony do we believe? Do we believe the testimony that he gave yesterday on national television, that he did call Dr. Andrew Murwa, and that he sent his own son to Dr. I urge you to find that Mr. Rigathi Gachagua indeed did call to influence investigations. On the issue of cabinet, Mr. Speaker, if you may allow me just 1 minute. On the issue of cabinet resolution, he has admitted and proceeded to justify that despite the existence of a valid cabinet decision in a cabinet meeting that he sat, he chose to defy that cabinet decision from government. Mr. Speaker, as I conclude, this is the National Assembly of the Republic of Kenya. And for the National Assembly of the Republic of Kenya to assert its constitutional authority, Mr. Rigathi Gachagua must be impeached today. I urge members. Mr. Rigathi Gachagua, we have heard from members here, has made inflammatory remarks against the women of the Republic. For the respect of the women of the Republic of Kenya, Mr. Rigathi Gachagua must be impeached today. We have heard that Mr. Rigathi Gachagua has disinherited the widows of his own brother. And for the widows of Kenya, beginning from Madera, to be safe, Mr. Rigathi Gachagua must be impeached today. And therefore, I urge members of Gachagua.
Thank you. Honorable members on their feet, take your seats. Take your seats. Brighton, take your seats. Today you are very mobile. Honorable members, order. Honorable members, coming to the end of this motion. And before I put the question, this is one motion where there is no voice vote. We'll go straight into division. So there are no ayes have deliberated on the matter that there will be a roll call vote. That be in the next 30 minutes to 40 minutes, maximum 1 hour. When we start voting, order, when we start being conducted yourself, I am under the of the Constitution and Standing Order 64, and 65, this House resolves to remove from office following grounds. 1. Gross violation of Articles 10(2)(a) and B and C, 27(4), 73(1)(a), 2 and B, 75(1)(c), 129(2) of the Constitution, and Article 147(1) as read together with gross violation. 3. Gross violation 186(1), 189(1), and the 4th schedule to the Constitution by undermining